And like Israel, like you do.
Exactly. So why is
She is. I also like. I usually don't have issues falling into class. Yeah, I'm like I'm not like
going not enough?
I call this meeting to order at 5 o'clock. Assistant Director Wilhelm, will you please lead us in the fight song?
Yes, of course. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Fight, 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 to the thousand tigers, stand out for all to see. Fight, fight, tigers, fight, that's the victory to you. Attorney General report.
President DeVoe.
Present.
Vice President Ambush.
Present.
Treasurer Colquitt.
Present.
Chief of Staff Moody.
Sorry, still wearing.
Director Ramos.
Present.
Assistant Director Soto. Director Diame. Director Johnstone.
Present.
Director Clark. Assistant Director Carr. Director Edwards.
Present.
Assistant Director Wilhelm.
Present.
Director Kemp.
Present.
Director Thaxton. Rep. Holland. Pro Temp Teddy.
President.
Senator Rank.
President.
Senator Saleem.
President.
Senator Eaglin. Senator Wasserman.
Present.
Senator Maddox.
Present.
Senator Hayes. Present. Senator Nguyen.
Present.
Senator Armasor.
Present.
Justice Adenuga.
Present.
Justice Yansen.
Thank you. We will now move into the approval of the minutes. Are there any amendments to the last meeting's minutes? Hearing none, we will consider them approved. Amendments to the agenda. Senator Ring,
I move that we add disability representative to the agenda.
is there a second? Senator Maddox,
I second that.
is there any discussion? Senator Ring,
I meant to say 2 communications,
Oh.
not agenda.
if there's no further discussion, we will move into a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstaining? We will move with the amended agenda. There are no guest speakers today. Is there any public participation or student concerns? Advisor remarks.
No report. They have Dunkin' Donuts, just passing around, help yourself, so that is.
Thank you. Appropriations Committee,
No report.
Government Operations Committee,
No report.
Rules Committee,
No report.
President DeVoe.
Happy Taco Tuesday, everyone. Couple of quick things. First, I was able to meet with a couple of key staff members on the indoor event guidelines that they're working towards. Because of the many entryways to the union, there are going to be increased costs for security just because there are a lot of ways to get into the building for different events. So we want to make sure that we're proactive in terms of programming. So that meeting was on yesterday, which was hello? Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Don't know what happened there. The battery's dead. One moment, please. Okay, sorry. All right, my bad. Or it's bad. Anyway, so that was the meeting yesterday. The chair, I believe, of that committee would be Scott Fire, okay, cool. And if you have any questions about that, a great resource is, Scott as well as Matt Leno, our advisor who's over there in the corner. And we'll keep you updated on that. Next, I know that we received a student concern in terms of lifting masking protocols, and while the university hasn't made anything definitive about that, we just want to be mindful of students who may be immunocompromised, who have different concerns about masking. So I would just be mindful of that, especially senators. Just kind of keep your ears open to what students are saying in that regard. I did share that information with the provost as well as Director DMA, who sits on the COVID readiness leadership team that meets every Monday, I believe at 10:30 a.m. Or that's when the shared governance representatives join that committee. So we're trying to, keep an open line of communication in terms of students' comfort level. Additionally, this past Sunday was the USMSC, or University System of Maryland Student Council meeting. Director Johnstone was kind enough to take notes, so I will yield over to him to share any important updates.
All right, hello. So we did talk about quite a lot. It seems like some of the main concerns are mental health, transparency, and funny enough, sustainability. Mental health obviously has been quite a concern among, not just student leaders, but students entirely. So they're coming up with some new ideas, including a mental health week, a mental health day. And while those ideas are still in the, very, very, very beginning stages, they are working on it, which is great to hear. On transparency, the USMSC has been sort of looking at the idea of hosting town halls and being more transparent with the students that they serve. So that may or may not come, I'm not quite sure. During the next meeting, I'm sure President DeVille will have more to say about it. Let's see. All right. I think, okay, this, I don't know, let me, one moment. Is this appropriate stuff? Okay, cool. So basically the USM budget is rising, which is a good thing. However, they are still going to be increasing tuition by 3%. So keep that in mind. The increased budget is going to be going to school campuses such as ours, UMD's, Morgan State's, all of them. So that's great to hear. Hopefully we get more out of our budget, but just wanted to keep you all aware. And they are talking about moving away from COVID protections such as testing requirements, vaccine statuses, etc. There are a lot of talks, as President Doe just noted, surrounding that. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, keep engaged. And I believe that is all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Johnstone. A couple of other things. Tiger Pride Day obviously is next week. So if you have not registered, please do that. And that will be on the 21st, which is this coming Monday. It's a really great opportunity for you to engage with your representative. So please come out and let your friends know to register. Like Advisor Leno mentioned, try to just get one additional person to register if possible. In terms of the safety walk that was passed last fall, or this past fall semester, I am in conversations with Chief Herring from TUPD about when we will be having that safety walk so students can participate and say where on campuses they are, what spots on campus they feel less comfortable. So if there are any specific locations you want us to include on that trail, please let me know. That was the last question in terms of that conversation. And I mentioned during announcements, I believe last week, that the Tiger Advocacy Advisory Team is going to need representatives. I'm assigning 2 people to split to delegate among themselves attending those meetings. So if you are interested, please let me know. I know Director Edwards did express interest, so we may look for one additional person, I think, to take that morning slot, I want to say. I'm sorry, the afternoon slot. That was my mistake. Thank you so much. Lastly, well, 2 things. One, thank you to anyone who attended the student open forums for the Vice President of Enrollment Services this week. That's going to be from 3 to 3:30 in the CLA, in, I believe it's room 3150. So please go out, ask questions, really important role for students. So please go out if you're free during that time, you don't have class. Okay, and then last thing, for member of the week, this person has really shown growth this year, has been tremendous throughout retreat, was just hands-on and always available, always willing to help. And even since we've returned from retreat, has been really proactive in holding members accountable, but also doing it with a gentleness and a spirit that is lovely to be around. So this member of the week is Attorney General Kapoor.
Thank you. Treasurer Colquitt?
Good afternoon, happy Cyber Tuesday, everyone. So yesterday we held our Valentine's Day giveaway. Thank you to everyone that assisted with that. It was a great time, just giving out some and making Valentine's grounds. Make sure you log your hours with Director Batson if you did volunteer for that. And also just a reminder, we're doing the dining hall appreciation in collaboration with the dining staff. The dining services department on February 17th from 11 to 2. And we do need volunteers for that. So if you're interested, I believe Director Jackson made sign up genius. If not, then just look out for that because I'm soon. Shout out to President DeVoe for holding it down in the indoor event safety meeting that I did not attend because I was planning the other initiative. But she already spoke on that, and I will be in those future meetings. Lastly, I met with Chief of Staff Moody Friday with the National Honor Society for Dance Arts. We were able to help them out with becoming active again since 2013. Big thank you to Advisor Lindo for stepping in there as well. And I believe that's all. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Attorney General Kapoor?
Hi, everyone. Okay, so. Okay, you hear this? No?
Bring it a little closer.
Yes, okay, so the me and Director Ramos, also Assistant Director Setter, we worked on an hate bias report form. So we are going to be putting that, I will be putting that live out on band after this GA. So if you have an incident report, please feel free to do that. They're all anonymous and there's instructions on the form. And if you have other questions, like feel free to reach out to me or Director Ramos, like those are our jobs. And yes, okay. So virtual sign-in sheet, remember that if you're completing virtual hours to use the sign-in sheet also located on band, just put in like, it's very much like the office sign-in sheet, just what time you're in, what time you're out, your position, all that. Event messages, so please make sure you're messaging me if your event and date and time is confirmed with like the location and the title, just so I can add that to band as well. So these are a lot of band announcements, so make sure you're paying attention. And then all absence requests, non-emergency of course, should be 24 to 48 hours in advance. I should be getting no same day absence requests. Of course, emergencies, I understand. And if you're not able to submit an absence request due to an emergency, just shoot me a message and then submit one at a later point. And also, last announcement is this Thursday, the PCC, the Public Communication Center, is coming to our pre-meeting to prep for Tiger Pride Day. So yay. Be prepared, be excited to engage. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Chief of Staff Moody?
Hi, everyone. So next week on Thursday for pre-meeting is the Black History Month paint night. So please come out. It's going to be in Ballroom E. So please make sure everyone's prepared for that. Make sure you wear like something that can easily get dirty if possible. For the cabinet, check-ins are resuming next week. So if you haven't met with me one-on-one, especially the assistant directors, please plan to do so. Also, I have started the cabinet weekly emails. So for the cabinet as well, like if y'all have anything that you want me to put in the emails that you'd like the other cabinets to know, let me know. And also pre-meeting link is on band. So if anyone is requesting a pre-meeting, I'm pretty sure we're all booked until like April, but please put those in. Yes.
My question was, thanks.
My question was, for the cabinet emails, is that just for the cabinet? Okay. Is it just like announcements for like their events and stuff? If you want, you don't have to, but if you want to send it with the SJ list, you can.
Okay, cool. I'll do that. Anyone else have a question? With that, I yield.
Thank you. Department of Academic Affairs?
Hello, everybody. It's really short for today. I just want to let everyone know that I will be meeting with the Office of the Provost tomorrow. We're just going to discuss our goals for the semester. Director Leo will be with me on that as well. And then also, I'm currently finalizing a potential date for goat yoga. So that's also very exciting. That's everything. So with that, I yield.
Thank you. Department of Campus Activities. Department of Civic Engagement.
Alrighty, hello. So pretty short report. We had our bi-weekly civic engagement and social responsibility meeting. The big thing then, or big thing coming up, I guess, we are doing some tabling downstairs, March 3rd from 1 to 3 p.m. We're going to be informing students of the importance of using reusable items and also giving out some reusable cups for water and other such things like that. So if you want one, come on down. We will love to accommodate. We only have 50 cups though, so you got to come quick. Let's see. We also have the history of foraging events. Progress is going well. I met with Chief of Staff Moody to schedule a date, and once that gets confirmed, I will be sure to let everyone know. On the same line, I am meeting up with multiple professors in the next, multiple anthropology professors, I should say, in the next coming weeks to discuss possible collaboration and any support that they can give. So if you'd like to come to those, please feel free to message me and I'll send you the times and dates. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Department of Communications.
Okay, Director Rodriguez just wants everyone to know if you haven't taken your portrait slab, please let him know that I know.
Department of Community Outreach.
Okay, so Director Jackson says, hey y'all, I'm sorry I couldn't be there today. I'm a bit under the weather. If you took time to write Valentine's Day note and pass out candy on Valentine's Day, thank you so much. I know the students really appreciate it. Please put your information in to involve that to you. Please contact them if you need help doing that. On Thursday, I need volunteers to help man the table and doing dining for delightful acts of kindness. There are 30-minute slots and they also count as a service event. I will send the sign of genius again as there is no one signed up. I look forward to seeing you all soon, and with that, I yield.
Thank you. Department of Diversity and Inclusion.
Hello, everyone. It's Mary on Good Tuesday. I have a few announcements. So y'all may have saw in the professional group chat, I did a committee for not a TU. So if you're still interested in my committee, you're more than welcome to just like the message and I'll add you into the group chat. Some things I just need help with is just, getting some outreach because I want to collab with the student board, help out with some merch ideas as well as finalizing my events because I'm hoping to get all the non-TU events finalized by the end of this week. So that way we can start having supplies, thinking about other stuff for the events. Another thing I wanted to shout out that you also may have saw in the professional group chat from my AD showed up is that they're putting a color run, her and sending me in. So if y'all are also interested in wanting to join the committee for the color run, please join that and like it. And then my assistant director Shoto will put you in the group meet for that. So please help. That will be on April 16th if you're interested in both helping out or going to the color run. And then and like I said, I'm just having more meetings for us to speak about trying to finalize everything for not you and everything. So I'm with that at you.
Thank you. Department of Health and Wellness.
Can y'all hear me? No. Okay. It might be off. Okay, so I will be meeting on Friday with the USM Student Council Vice President on the Mental Health Committee. Director Johnston was talking about so on Friday, if any of y'all have any information or any resources or anything you want me to send to them, please let me know. The It's on Us committee is open, so if anyone wants to join, if anyone wants to get more involved and have more things to do, please let me know, or you can the message that was on the chat. I can send the message again. And lastly, the CRLT is working on recommendations to send to the president on some next steps that we can take when it comes to masking and any other regulations on campus. depending on incoming data from TMAC. So that's pending, depending on what the data is like, but we're gonna come out with next steps or next processes. But if anyone has any questions on anything, please let me know. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Department of Higher Education.
Hi, guys. That semester report today, a huge thank you to the new mentors and the returning mentors that came to exit this week. Thank you, of course, President DeVoe, for kind of taking over in my absence right now. I really have an application for an assistant director, guys. So it's gonna come out of President DeVoe's hands pretty soon. And of course, I wanted to let you guys know that the kids are super excited and texting me like, yay, new mentors. I started the committee for the Arts Integration Marathon. So if you would like to be on the committee, just let me know. I just the group chat. Right now, the focus for the committee is just, outreach and recruiting performers or any speakers, so let me know if you want to be a part of that. And I think with that, I yield.
Thank you. Department of Marketing.
Hey, just some quick updates. I've been working on a flyer handout for the new shuttle routes. A lot of students have made complaints that it's kind of confusing, so you can look forward to that this week. Also, the Transfer Council flyer is up on digital screens, so hopefully we'll have some more people trying to, yes, be a part of Transfer Council. I created an AD flyer for myself. Finally, it's on digital screens. I'm also working on a general Who Are We flyer, just to kind of have at table in events. It'll have like everything SGA, like when our GAs are, what we do, like the purpose of SGA, things like that. Also look forward to a TPD legislation post coming out on social media soon. The paint night flyer is going up on Thursday, and in our link tree, you can find the diversity survey post coming soon. Thank you. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Department of Student Works.
No report.
Thank you. Department of New Student Development.
Hey guys, so the transfer council just is about to start their meetings within the next 2 weeks. Thanks you to Director Clark for the flyer, because after the enrollment fair last week, we got taken about 3 or 4 members. We're pushing about maybe 15 now. So thanks again to all of you for continuing to promote that. And with that, I do.
Thank you so much. AMPET representative. Thank you. Greek life representative. URG representative.
Hello, just a reminder, my name is Julian McCauley. I'm Vice President of University Residence Government. I am just here to provide a quick little update on URG's schedule for the spring semester. So the biggest thing we have on deck coming up is the Towson Tiger Games, TTG for short. It is going to be a massive Olympic style event going on, well, it's campus wide, but specific locations. So it is going to be 4 days in total on April 12th through 15th. Day one will consist of an opening ceremony, kind of like the Olympics, fun for everybody. But the part about that is we'll be sending out a registration form with our flyers and everything beginning sometime this week or next week, just so we could get everyone pre-registered and everything. And registration is only just to get basic information like TUIDs and which dorm they live in and stuff, so we can keep track of everyone to get prizes out at the end of everything. So day one, opening ceremony and trivia contest. Once we get everyone sorted out into their teams, they get a nice little custom team headband with a TTG logo, nice little claw mark. Design's cool, guys. Like, you'll see it soon. It's like really cool. And they'll have a color to match their team and everything. It'll be 5 teams throughout, and throughout the whole week, they'll be vying for top place. And after we get everyone sorted out, there will be a trivia contest. That'll be the first thing that racks up the points and everything, and throughout the week, we'll be keeping track of points. Day 2 is multiple games that relate to the theme of teamwork. Day 3 is multiple games that relate to the next theme of tournaments. So maybe single person tournaments, doubles tournament, or full team tournaments. And then the 4th day is the final day, and we will be closing it out with a massive field day. We have about 2 locations on record right now, Tiger Plaza and a couple of the ballrooms we're going to be using as like big things to have big games, little games, complicated things, uncomplicated things. Just, you guys remember what a field day looks like back from middle school or elementary and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to be bringing to the table. So in the meantime, we'll have flyers coming out soon that pretty much just say 4 days of competitions, tournaments, events, and a closing ceremony to crown the winning team. And that's pretty much what it's going to be. We still have to determine a closing ceremony day, but we don't expect a lot of people to show up for that because all the fun's over. But after that, we'll choose a winning team, give them the prizes. And throughout the week, we have like t-shirts and everything that we'll be giving out for merchandise and stuff. Just something the whole campus can get behind as a little fun event. And hopefully we can keep it going to the next year, so.
Freshman council representative?
Hi, so with freshman council, we've been working on some long-term plans we hope to have for the semester. And we're also actually planning an event for Black History Month, February 28th. You know, just to like educate people, but also have fun. So it's After First Rappers Edition. And we're also working on a better system so that hopefully everyone can like see more members at these GA assemblies and so that they can get a better understanding of like bigger SGA. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Disability representative?
Hi, everyone. So far what I've done is, as I mentioned in the last GA, I was making a survey that I was going to send out to all disabled, well, to the school in general, specifically for disabled students, be that official diagnosed or self-diagnosed, and that survey was sent out this afternoon. So if you guys, if you identify as having a disability or you know anyone who's identified a disability, or regardless, you can just push that out for me. That would be appreciated. Similarly, I have been working these past few days with getting in contact with the TU athletic and other departments concerning an issue with the boys basketball Austin awareness event, because I've been reporting several students of the problematic and disrespectful and hurtful issues of those events. So I'm working on dealing with that now. And similarly, I have also been starting to be doing interviews, be that informal and formal, with people who have been working with the ADS department of the school to get a better understanding of that, because I've heard several negative reports of them not being the most accessible part of campus, even though it is the accessibility department. So I'm currently working on that, and I'm also planning on setting up forms to get ASL interpreters optional to optional to events and such like that if people need it. And I also have everything signed with those at the moment. And with that,
Thank you so much. Happy Tiger Tuesday, everyone. Just a couple things. One, today will be our last planned breaking of Senate rules to look at legislation. So if you do want to request legislation, please request it like 2 to 3 weeks in advance so that the Senate can have time to conduct very purposeful research and make sure that the bills that come on the floor are great and awesome, because we do not want to break any more Senate rules than we have to. Next, Tiger Pride Day is this Monday. I am very, very excited. I know, so everyone be excited about it. And when the legislation comes on our social media of the legislation we're promoting, please share it around so people know what SGA's official agenda is. And then once Tiger Pride Day is over, my next agenda will be focusing on implementation with President DeVoe of bills that were passed last semester and making sure the bills that are going to be passed this semester are implemented, and we can get that all sorted. And with that, I yield. Are there any opinions of the court?
everyone. On February 10th, the Judicial Board heard the appeal from the Korean Culture Club. The court then decided to approve the appeal. The reasons we approved the appeal was because the Korean Culture Club completed all the requirements to be a Package 3 organization. They did not receive all the points that they were due.
Thank
That I
you.
yield.
Hey, everyone. There is no unfinished business for today, so we'll now move into new business. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Maddox,
I move that we review resolution 30.
okay, is there a second? Senator Salim? Is there any discussion? If not, we'll now move into a vote to review resolution number 30. All those in favor? Opposed? Or abstaining? With that, the motion passes. Yes, President DeVoe. This is just for the senators. Given that we don't have mics for all of you, please try to project your voices as best you can and raise your hands high. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Okay, we're now reviewing resolution number 30. Is there any discussion? It was written by Senator Maddox on behalf of Director Johnstone. So if you would both like to speak on behalf of the bill before we go into further discussion, you may at this time. Director Johnstone?
Yeah, I actually had a presentation.
Okay, go ahead.
Alrighty, everybody, happy Tiger Tuesday again. I would like to present the green tea, proposal made by myself. Next slide, please. Sorry. So those over.
Okay. So when I run it back.
Okay, well, we have the big screen.
Sorry, can you give us one moment? I believe there was an announcement. If not, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had to break Senate rules to review it. We're gonna have to come to this, so that process can be done. So. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Rink?
I move that we break Senate rules to review resolution 30.
I'm so sorry. Is this my mom? No.
No.
My son.
Oh, wait, that one's off. Make sure it's on.
Okay, I'll just try and project. I'm so sorry. You made the motion to break Senate rules. Is there a second? Senator Salim?
My second.
Okay, is there any discussion? If not, we'll now move into a vote to break Senate rules to review resolution number 30. All those in favor? Opposed? Or abstaining? Cool, okay. With that, the motion passes and we can now review resolution number 30. Apologies about that. You're good to go.
We come from the middle.
Oh,
Anyway, cycle out. All right, so starting off with a bit of an overview. So the green fee is a proposed $4 increase in the SGA budget to be used specifically for sustainable projects on campus and carbon offsets. If enacted, any group on campus would be able to request funds to develop their own unique environmentally friendly projects. A separate committee comprised of both student leaders and faculty would be established later this semester to ensure that funds are being used appropriately and wisely. Towson University is actually one of the only schools under the USM system that doesn't currently have a specific green fee. And the SGA had a $4 green fee at one point before it was absorbed into the budget at an unspecified time. To talk a bit more on this, when the committee is established, one of the strict rules that we are going to abide by is making sure that any group that does come with a request for funds has to have a majority student, I guess, population in the group. We don't want this to just be for faculty members. We want to also make sure that we're helping the community and helping the students. So it would have to be a rule for the committee to make sure that that happens. Next slide, please. Next slide. Thank you. All right. So how will this help the students? Not only is climate change a serious threat to all students, it also causes a lot of mental anxiety and stress. Giving students an outlet for them to help the fight against climate change in a dramatic way could alleviate these worries and therefore help their mental health. Students would also have the opportunity to put together a unique project on their resume. So I know that some of you guys are looking towards grad school, or looking towards law school, having something like, I built my own solar panels on top of, you know, this parking garage or this building could look really, really impressive. And that boosts their chances of getting employed. Next slide. All right, so just some student supports. An Instagram poll, 63.5% of students supported an $8 increase to the SGA fee to be used for sustainable initiatives. Want to reiterate that this was for an $8 increase, not the $4 increase that is being proposed. Next slide, please. All right, so what prompted this? The Office of Sustainability has received many requests for sustainable projects, which unfortunately had to be tabled due to a lack of funds. These projects include funds to support the TU Urban Farm, funds to support a GA for a water conservation pilot project planning services, fund for student research on building bird strikes, funds for zero waste kits and reusable to-go container pilots, funds to join the Post Landfill Action Network, funds for more biking amenities and events, funds for testing various impervious surface materials, and other projects. This is just what we could fit. We'd like to go. Thank you. All right, so the other avenues. We understand that this is a big topic. So the Office of Sustainability and Civic Engagement has made sure to research all the other possible avenues. We have looked into, actually we talked to budget officers, of which Matt Leno was there, about making the green fee a separate fee entirely. This avenue has historically been incredibly difficult, and at the time, our fee was just a little too dramatic for it to go this route. The fee was originally proposed to be much higher, at first roughly $20, then $8, and now under careful consideration, $4. So a little watered down, but that's okay. Thank you. These are just some sources. These two are just like links to research showing that like climate change does impact people's mental health. And this one is a little, I guess you would call it Excel file showing the other schools, other notable schools, I should say, and what their fee is. So for instance, Frostburg University has a $15 per semester green fee. Salisbury University has a $12 per semester green fee. And UMD has a $6 per semester, increasing to $24 in 24 per year. My apologies. In 2022 to 2023. Next slide. And that's kind of it. Thank you so much for your time. Happy to take questions.
Thank you for that lovely presentation. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns? Senator Link.
I have some friendly amendments, or I would say both of them are friendly. There are 2 commas after the first 2022. And then the second one, and therefore be it resolved to add in the portion that would typically say the student senate of the Hunter First Administration, which is missing.
Thank you for that. Any more questions, comments, concerns? President DeVoe?
I know this conversation has been going on for a while. I appreciate your diligence on this. Thank you so much. One question I would ask is how possible would it be for a grant like this to be crowdsourced perhaps throughout the university to show like campus-wide commitment to the effort? I know that might be a little bit more challenging and require more lobbying, but in terms of other avenues, I just wanted to propose as an option. I know when we advocated for a refund for the athletics fee, what ultimately happened was every department on campus pitched in for students to get a refund for a portion of what they paid towards the athletics fee. So I was just curious if that has been considered as an option for a grant like this to be crowdsourced.
Yeah. So we have talked to certain departments about doing something like that. I know that the departments that I talked to were like, the environmental science and the biology, and those were all like very environmental based. What am I trying to call them? Not offices, majors, departments, thank you. We haven't really talked to some of the business schools or the economics school or marketing or anything of the sort. Sorry, I don't know if this answers your question. Well,
Oh, no. I meant not so much academic departments, but maybe the Office of Civic Engagement, and Social Responsibility would add $1 to theirs, and we would add $1 to ours of athletic, whatever, so that it wasn't all coming from the SGA per se, but it would be, and maybe even sum to more money ultimately, if everyone could do like 50 cents to theirs or whatever the case may be. And yes, the sum would be, greater, but maybe not look like as much of a dent for students. I guess, I don't know if that makes sense, but not so much academic departments, but offices throughout the university that already have established fees.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for clarifying. I understand now. We have tried talking to other, I guess, fee holders, fee headers, I don't know.
Yeah.
About maybe potentially like having them increase or decrease their fee to allocate more room for us. And it seems like that's really difficult to do. Of course, I mean, it could be an option next year, perhaps. Maybe if you wanted to help lobby for that, that'd be perfect. I would love to do that. I love looking at other avenues. I was discussing with Matt Leno, with Vice President Hamlish, about some other avenues that we could take next year to, sort of mitigate the effect on students.
Any more questions, comments, concerns, Treasurer Colquitt?
Yes, so when would this fee be implemented?
Yeah, so it would be implemented during the 2022-2023 academic year.
So fall 2022?
Correct. Mhm.
Yes, Supervisor Leno.
So just a point of clarification, the due structure that's going to be spoken about for 2022, 2023 has already been submitted to the university for the fee form, including the SGA increase. So if you were to ask for fees from departments and stuff like that, they would not be able to make a change on any of their fees until the 2023-24 school year. So it would, if you're going in a direction to ask to help people increase their fees, to help you like crowdsourcing, like President DeVoe said, you would not be able to accomplish that in this piece of legislation unless you did it for the next year. So I'm just putting that out there.
You have something else you wanted to say? Okay, I was just gonna ask, so I know we submitted ours, and our increase was, you all saw it, but it was to mitigate minimum wage increase, stuff like that, which was $2. But would we be able to double back at this point, or is it kind of concrete at this point? I assume that it is, but I just wanna
I'm
ask.
assuming it is, but you would just email Vice President Lowenthal, and you can, and Brandon is number 2, and you can ask if the change in submission could be done.
Okay,
That'd be the only way to do it.
okay, cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
Treasurer Colquitt?
Okay, with that information, I wouldn't really feel comfortable proceeding with like hearing the bill. I love what the bill wants to do, but if we don't know that we can change the fee in time to add this, if we want to charge students $8 extra for this initiative, which I think it's a great initiative, but like President DeVoe said, maybe there are other avenues than from our SGA fee. This would lock us into a financial commitment next year to hold ourselves with the $4 increase that I proposed per year, $2 per semester. This would completely eat that increase and then cause another deficit, which is kind of like, it's kind of undoing the work that I proposed in order to make us financially well off for next year. So I would really feel comfortable proceeding with the bill until we know whether or not we can even increase our fee, because I did submit the fee proposal maybe over a month ago when I posted it on Ban and GroupMe.
Before I say what I'm gonna say, I just wanna make sure I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, which is that because our fee has already been submitted, which is as we should be operating right now in this discussion, concrete, it could not be, but because you already submitted a fee, which is the same as this fee, you're saying that because we would possibly pass this bill, then the increase that you proposed would have to go to this? Is that what your point was?
The increase that I proposed and then some, correct?
Okay, right, because it was $2 increase, my bad. I personally, I'm not sure that is what would necessarily occur from this resolution, just because there is no mention of a specific calendar year in here, other than the fact that we think that we should be increasing our fee. Like, it doesn't say that we need to implement this in the 2022-23 academic year. So I personally don't feel like that changes my mind about whether or not this should be passed, but that is something for the Senate to consider if you feel we should include specific wording in here about when this would be implemented. And if you, as the Senate did want to do that, then we may need to have a discussion about postponing this until we find out more information about whether or not the fee could be changed at this time. But to my original point, I don't necessarily think that this new information changes whether or not this should be passed, since it doesn't specifically say when it will be implemented, just that it will be implemented back into the budget. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but just my opinion on the wording of the bill.
Not to illegitimize the point made about the previous green fee, I just wanted to ask for a point of information. So how do we know that this was a thing before? Just like what resource were we able to get that information from, just because none of us were here for it?
Yeah. So, me and Vice President Ambush talked a little bit about this, along with Patty Watson, who's the Director of Sustainability, and she's been here for, I believe, around 10 years. But at the old union, there were these little stickers, I suppose, and Vice President Ambush would like to speak on this a little bit more. And apparently those were paid for with the previous green fee, with the previous funds allocated towards the green fee.
Vice President Ambush. From what I know, SJ did pay for those stickers. We don't know if it was a certain line item or if it came out of like the Director of Civic Engagement's budget. We just don't know if there was a specific line item dedicated, but it was a commitment that our previous administration had made, not commitment. It was something that a previous administration had done.
So, like, just adding on to that point, I think, well, funding stickers is not the same thing as implementing a new student fee, which brings me to my next point of kind of the confusion, like, in terms of my logic, because the way that our budget is structured, we have our operating budget, which is our cost, our office supplies, salaries, things of that nature. And we have our student organization budget, their fall request, their spring request, our grant request. This is something that's new and kind of would set a different precedent in that we could just make a fee within the SJ budget for anything that we want to fund. For example, a director generally could say, oh, I want, a health and wellness fee to be implemented. So what that would cause is that the Student Government Association each year would have to factor in their budget, whatever dollar amount that would be. So this fee doesn't necessarily increase our SGA fee, but instead it says we would have to calculate $4 per semester per student, reduce that from our overall budget, and then still have all of our other operating budget costs plus student organization budget costs. That's my interpretation of the bill, but if you could clarify.
Director Johnson.
Yeah, I'd like to clarify. I don't know if the language is correct in the bill, and this might have to be a resolution that we make, or yeah, I guess a resolution. But I was proposing that we add $4 onto our increase instead of decreasing $4 from the budget or taking away $4. So it would be like a net negative almost, like none of that money would be taken away from the budget. It would be added on, and then that money would go separately into its own fund.
Do you have something
I understand. I mean, my point was just that that's new. It's not a common practice within the SGA budget.
Senator Ring?
Sorry. I apologize, I lost my train of thought. So I agree with what Treasurer Colquitt was saying, which is that we need to be careful about how we word it and that we can't set the precedent that directors within the organization can ask for fee increases in the future. But my point is, or my question is that we have other funding opportunities that are separate line items within the budget that correlate with directors' positions but that aren't their budgets. Is that correct, or am I misunderstanding how the budget works?
You would be correct in saying so. You would be correct in saying so. Basically, how it works is that there's no mandate that the treasurer has to fund a line item, but the line item exists. For example, I know Director of Health and Wellness has a line item. I know Director of Civic Engagement even has a line item. And what the treasurer kind of is tasked with doing is seeing how the line item was spent in previous years, working with the administration to set goals and priorities for that year and how they want to fund that specific line item. So that's kind of what we did this year. Whereas I didn't have any requirements where it said like, oh, I have to give $10,000 to Director Image Initiative or anything like that. We kind of set the priorities and then funded that way. The only things that are automatically calculated would be like contractual agreements, which we've entered, like protocol together all and things like that. But as far as directors, it's not like an annual thing where this amount has to go to this director.
Director Deanne, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I have a question. I think this would be for you. You know how we were just saying like for like, you know how, for like, it's on us, like for like my department, like on the Constitution, it says that I have to do it and there's like specific money for that. Is there a way that for civic engagement and sustainability, they can have that, but for like the fee?
If I understand your question correctly, that would require like a constitutional amendment.
Yeah.
I used to.
Go ahead, President DeVoe. Okay, just to get us out of this cycle of conversation, I just wanted to propose, not propose, it's not a formal recommendation, but just an idea. So, sorry. Okay, we have certain funding opportunities that have similar objectives to what you're describing, I believe. So we have the collaboration fund, we have the weekend retention fund, things that exist so student groups or students can apply and host events, et cetera, around whatever idea. They're fairly broad, but they exist and they go through the existing procedure of the grant review committee. I don't think that that is out of the mission of what you're describing. So my question would be, we'll have two questions. The first question would be, what is the ideal sum? And I guess I could just do mental math for 4 times every student, for this to arrive at. Because while we can't give thousands of dollars, just out of our existing operating budget, I think an SGA budget bill to reallocate funding to a grant that previously did not exist would be a fair compromise to at least initiate something like you're describing, but it could be short shooting the mission.
Director Johnson.
Yeah, so we have discussed other possible like grants and funds that we can pull from. The only issue is sustainability is unfortunately incredibly expensive. So single solar panels can cost as much as like $3,000, $4,000. Now, as to like the proposed like amounts that I'm requesting that I would like, I don't know it. I mean, if it were up to me, we wouldn't even have to do this fee. It could just be given to us by the university, but that is out of the question. So I'll take what I can get, I suppose. But to answer your question, it's difficult to get grants from the university when things cost so much, and there are other smaller projects that don't cost quite as much that are a bit more easy to go towards.
Right. Just to make sure we're on the same page of what I was suggesting, I think we are, but I just want to clarify. So we have line items in our budget that are certain grants that, and this would be what I'm talking about, a sustainability fund. That's an added line item to the SGA operating budget that would have to be revisited every year when we approve our operating budget, of course. So it's always subject to reallocation of more money after the fact per administration. But it would be categorized in a similar way to our collaboration fund and weekend retention fund. Additionally, I do want to include this point that we do not exhaust those existing funds already, like students don't necessarily use them. So doing a pilot, I think might be interesting of how many students actually use something like this. But that is all I have to say, and I yield.
Vice President Andrews.
Hi, I guess I think to clarify what Jaden's saying is that this money will be used for large scale projects, not student board events. Like it'll be used for like new solar panels, new GAs, like stuff like that. I will say that I really support the, I will say I'm a senior, so please, take that with a grain of salt as well. But I really do support it, and he is correct, we're the only USM school that doesn't have it. I guess my concern would be the only way to force future administrations to follow this would be a constitutional amendment, because in theory, 2 administrations from now, a new treasurer can just reallocate the money anywhere they want, which is why this is not a formal recommendation. Like, I think this bill would be better if it asked the university to create a new fee separate from the SGA fee. And if we put enough pressure, I'm sure it can be done. Only because I'm concerned about, we do this fee, it's here for a year. What's to say a new SGA administration comes in and completely like wipes the slate and says like, we don't want this line item. And we don't have a good way to enforce resolutions, administration to administration, but the Constitution and the bylaws are things that have to be followed administration to administration. So I guess that's my own concern, but I do really support the fee and I want it somewhere. I just don't know if the SGA fee is necessarily long-term feasible.
Senator Ms. Lord.
On a personal business.
Granted. Senator Ring.
I think what I'm trying to get at is what President DeVoe said, but I did not have the capacity to word correctly, apparently. So that is what I meant by my question, is that we do have like pots of money that students can like apply, for lack of a better word, to use. And I could be wrong, but I do feel like when you were giving your presentation, you sort of mentioned that there would be some kind of application process for students doing. Sorry,
Thank you.
I would feel like.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So you're right on the money. There would be some sort of application process in there. To answer some other questions, if this goes, perfectly, I think it would be like President DeVoe said, as a separate line item similar to like, it's on us or something like that, with that money applied to it. So separate line item entirely. But Vice President Ambush is also correct. It could be taken away at any time. And I would love to look into next year possibly, because as Matt Leno said, the Board of Regents have already sort of seen everyone's proposal, and it's already going to be very hard to get this increase in. So it might be nearly impossible to communicate with the university heads, whoever we need to get an increase entirely in. Of course, if we want to try that avenue, I mean, we can, but I just don't think it's very feasible this year, which is why I propose that we do this now and then focus on that in the next administration or even later on this administration.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the clarification. I do feel like a separate line item would be the most long-term way to enact this change. I also do want to say, I don't think I said I do support the bill, but I do feel like the vagueness of this bill, which is not like a dig, it's just these things are difficult to conceptualize without like the group body having these discussions. So I'm glad that the bill is here, but I do think that there are, it can be vague, and I think that future administrations might look back at this and be like, well, we don't feel like doing this, so it doesn't say when it needs to be implemented, it just says money, we can just write another bill to get rid of it. So I feel like there are other long-term ways that we can get this money where it needs to go, because I do agree that this is something that should be having consistent sources of funds going towards it.
Senator Evelyn.
I guess maybe my question, would it just be better just to like start over with the bill and maybe find like other solutions than like try to pass this? Because I feel like there's so many like, I don't know, negatives or cons to like just having it in the SJ budget, because like they said, they could just scrap it next year. And then how do we know if the next administration is like, oh yeah, we'll just try to work with the administration, the school administration to get it fixed. So I feel like maybe we should just try to find another avenue, or like have a committee or try to like brainstorm some ideas before we like pass this bill. I just don't think it will work right now.
Yeah, so I appreciate what you're saying, but the thing is, if we did push it off or push a bill off until next year, that would be the entire 2022 and 2023 academic year, where once again, sustainable projects are lacking funding. I don't know what the next administration is going to look like. I don't know what's going on, but whether I'm in SGA or not, I will fight for this to be enacted. And I will do all I can to make sure it's enacted and that it's in the right place. But that's all.
President Welch.
Okay, this is my last comment. Just there's a lot of thoughts going on. I think we all agree that this is a great cause, and we all are affected by climate change. So I think we can all agree on that, unless we disagree, which we can talk about. But anyway, so with that being said, I think that how I would like to see this resolution constructed, not saying whether or not we should have it or not have it, just a suggestion as a former senator, not President DeVoe, take it with a grain of salt. Right, so having it constructed as a series of possible solutions, because resolutions are not us saying how it has to be implemented. It's telling the university broadly, this is what we would like to see, this is the concern that we have. So if it's one whereas is dedicated to a constitutional amendment within the SGA of a grant that this is how much we're willing to put towards this effort. And then the second whereas, including that the SGA president needs to, whatever, I can personally commit to that. I don't know how constitutional this is, but encouraging the SGA presidents in the future to advocate to the university president's fund for excellence, which is a much more money than we have. So, you know, putting that out there and saying that I'm fine with spending the rest of the spring advocating for President Schatzel to visit the funding that she has to support a project like this, that doesn't say, okay, we have like, what I'm hearing is it's gonna sound like, not the equivalent of like a budget like CAB, but one of our larger line items, which could lopside a lot of things. So what I'm saying is a series of solutions, possible solutions that are opportunities for implementation. And I do want to reiterate, because I think I got a little jumbled in my head when I was saying it. I'm fine, scheduling a meeting with President Chancel, scheduling a meeting with whoever at the university needs to hear it. This is what the SJ would like to see you do with this money that you all have to spend each year. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, but I do think, from a structural standpoint, if we were revisiting the bills, which I'm not saying we should, that is how I would like to see it.
Senator Ray.
This is not a motion, just a comment to the Senate, so I would like to hear y'all's opinion on this. On the one hand, I agree with Director Johnston's urgency on this matter because, you know, a year without sustainable initiatives, having correct or enough funding, I guess, you know, is detrimental to the future of the university. But I also am wondering how we're feeling about possibly tabling and then having this go to a committee that, like, not a separate committee, I mean GovOps committee, where senators can help propose whereases similar to what President DeVoe was saying, because I think that might make more sense for posterity's sake if we have a series of solutions, not a motion, but just a comment to see what y'all think.
Senator Watchman.
I do agree that, like, personally, I do think that tabling it would be the most, although it caused a little bit of damage towards the sustainability fee currently, maybe it would be the best idea because I think it'd be more coherent and make the bill the best possible that it could be. So I think that tabling it, although it caused a little bit of damage, would be better for the future.
Senator Maddox.
I wrote this bill. I have just a lot of opinions about it. I think this is great, but I agree tabling it is probably the best idea. I personally wasn't given a lot of time. I'm sorry, Jane. But yeah, I wasn't given a lot of time and I was given a draft, so I just filled in the blanks and wrote it. And I do feel like if we had more time to really do proper research and engage in discussions with people like Treasurer Colquitt and other people who may, you know, have more experience with the budget and experience and things like that, I do feel like that is the most needed thing.
Director Johnston.
So when you say table, do you mean table it until next year or do you mean table until Thursday?
Senator Ray.
So if someone did make a motion to table, you have to set a date for when it will be revisited. That's a separate conversation we can have right now as well. Yeah, I'll just say that.
Yes, Director Johnson, Joe follows.
Another question. I don't know how the process works, but does the Board of Regents meet up one time a year for them to overlook the fees and the increases?
So, you want to just talk
Yes.
about this? Okay, so this is how the process works. So once a year, the state of Maryland Board of Regents, whatever it may be, they pass the policies and everything that are written, that the fees have to be published and then presented to the student body at each of the institutions. We're in that time period right now where it's on our calendars right now. President DeVoe has it. The fee form is going to be in a couple weeks, something like a Tuesday or Thursday night. SG will come forward at the fee form and they will present their fees. However, the fees all had to be delivered to the state. The proposed fees had to be delivered to the state and they're set in stone and then given in a presentation at the fee form, which is going to be in a couple weeks. This is done once a year. Okay. So I just want to say a little bit more about what's going on here. I think this is wonderful. We got to be careful about our language and the way things are written because there's a difference between a fee and a difference between a line item, and you're all interchangeably using these things. So if you do a line item, you're actually going to reduce your overall budget. If you do $4 a person, you're looking at roughly $72,000 a year. So you're going to take your $2 million budget and reduce it to $72,000 to free up money for this fee that you're calling a fee, which is actually a line item. If you're gonna call it a green fee, that means that you are going to add an additional $4 on top of what Treasurer Colquitt said, which would be $8 for next year, which would be like a 8 to 14% increase in your SGA fee for next year. The students will revolt, okay, because they're already paying $1,300 in fees a year. Okay, so hiding it in the budget and doing it as a line item is probably the best short-term solution. However, and I'm just giving you from years and years and years of experience, there'll be no traction or promise from years to come, as was said before, because let's say if the Red Sneaker Coalition next year takes over SGA, win the election, they can change all their initiatives, and then it's not there. So maybe a constitutional change or whatever could actually reflect that. But the fees you would have to wait a year. Let's say Jordan does not come up with she cannot get them to change to $4, whatever it is that we're talking about with the state for the fee form. You would have to wait an entire year to then propose another $4 for this fee. And any office can't do it either. So we're all frozen to this fee for the fee form that's gonna come up. Does that explain?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Treasurer Colquitt?
I also just wanted to say, in the meantime, like while we wait for guidance on the fee and like recommendations from the Senate, I would also like favor, maybe adding something to the financial policy to add an additional grant, maybe a sustainability grant, putting however much we can. I'm happy to look at the budget with you and allocate a couple thousand just for now, with the approval of the Senate, of course, just so that there is a short-term solution while we brainstorm and see what the long-term solution looks like. Because like I said, I think it's a great idea, but there's just like a lot of questions.
President DeWitt. Forgive me for interjecting. I really just want, I want resolution, so this is good. But I wanted to say as well, I don't know how much a couple of thousand will do for maybe one project. So I guess maybe saying how much one project perhaps costs, and then using that as a launching point for how much that grant would be. But I think that seeing, if you see there's a student demand and they use it this year, using that as leverage for the conversation next year and saying, President Chancellor, they utilize this grant, and we want this to be available to students more broadly, but we, the SGA, just don't have enough money to provide for that we want to. So are you comfortable supporting this effort? I think that piloting it is my informal recommendation and doing line item style, and then looking towards, rather than maybe a fee, maybe a commitment from the president of the university. I mean, hey, institutions do it all the time. Fellowships, they'll give full tuition scholarships to students just to come and work on a specific project. So Towson University making that commitment, I think leveraging that discussion with them by saying, here's the line item that was exhausted because students use this thing, might be a way to go. But I think that's it.
I would support making a separate line item. I think that we may have come in a little too late and we're coming in a little too heavy. So next year we could do better. I completely support that.
Okay, good. Sorry, okay, so the another whereas I think would be or therefore be further resolved, maybe implementing an SGA committee that would be dedicated to finalizing a proposal, so it's not just on one person and it's also comprehensive, research-based, et cetera, et cetera.
Before I proceed into asking if you guys would like to vote on this, I was just wondering if there were any recommendations on the table or motions that you all wish to make. Okay, cool. Senator Rank.
Apologies. I forgot what I was gonna say for a moment. So with the discussion about possibly tabling, I also wanted to just make another comment for the Senate's consideration that at this point, we're considering changing the bill so drastically that would it just not make more sense to start over with a bill, or do we feel like if we table, at this point, it would have to be at the earliest 2 GAs from now because of Tiger Pride Day, if you feel like that's enough time to essentially overhaul the bill. My only concern with possibly failing the bill is just that the message that that sends across that we failed a bill for a sustainability fee, just in the future record of the logs, but then again, if we did end up passing a future bill that essentially does the same thing, wouldn't really matter. Just some thoughts for the Senate. I don't know if anyone has any comments about this.
Senator Evelyn?
I guess if we fail it, but we all have kind of a common idea that we wanted to pass, we just wanted to be maybe more comprehensive. So I don't really think that would make us look bad. It might just make it seem like, we really want this to work. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Do we have any more questions, comments, concerns? President DeVoe?
I know you had something. Did you have something on that?
Oh, I was just
I
going to
know.
suggest that we table it instead. I worry that if we fail it, it would send not only a bad message to students as a whole in like the now, but like also to the faculty that they know that this isn't as important of an issue as maybe they thought it was. So I think we should table it instead, just so that in the future, if we do pass it, even if it can't go through, at least the faculty and the administration as a whole knows that SGA wants this, and therefore the students want this.
I agree. I would just say not 2 GAs from now, just I don't think that that's enough time. And I think considering the fact that we're all saying that it's likely concrete that we can't get a new fee and everyone's saying line item instead of fee now, from what I'm hearing, I don't think that we need to rush it in time for perhaps the fee forum like we were originally planning. Or the senators and Director Johnstone were originally planning. So I think just setting a later date that feels realistic for you all might be best.
With that being said, are there any more comments, questions, concerns? Would you guys like to make a motion? How do you wish to proceed? Senator Hayes?
I have a question. So if we're going to move to table, do we have to discuss the date before the motion or after the motion?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay. So my question was, if we move to table the bill, do we have to discuss a date before the motion or after the motion's done?
And also, I just wanted to say, I know I was the person who was working on finalizing times for committees. And just for transparency, I haven't like finalized that time, so I wouldn't know what time necessarily to give you as to when it would go through GovOps or that kind of, yes. Just to keep that in mind. Vice President Ambush.
If we were going to table it, I think mid-March, GA in mid-March would be best. The reason why I'm saying this, it gives GovOps and the committee enough time to get the bill done. But it also leaves 2 months in the semester for, if the bill passes, for President DeVoe to put in the work with me to implement it, again, if the bill passes. So I think mid-March gives enough time for everyone to get all their ducks in order and make sure they're all happy.
Treasurer Colquitt.
Just so you all know, I just looked at the calendar. Exactly a month from now is also Tuesday, March 15th, so. That's all I consider.
Senator Hayes.
Question, when is spring break? Isn't it March 20th to the 28th?
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Okay, do we have any more questions, comments, concerns? Okay, is there any motion that you guys would like to make? Okay, Senator Evelyn.
I move that we table this bill until March 15th.
Okay, is there a second? Senator Maddox,
Second that.
is there any discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, we're now moving to a vote to table resolution number 30 until March 15th, correct? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed or abstaining?
That the motion passes and we'll table this resolution until March 15th. Okay, that is the only resolution on our agenda today. Are there any announcements?
Again, just to reiterate, if you're interested in target advocacy advisory team, please let me know. We do need one more person, so please let me know as soon as possible. Also, great job today, guys. I think this is an example of a GA that perhaps went a little longer, but wasn't a cyclical dialogue about nothing. So great job, everybody, for doing that. With that, I yield.
Vice President Ambush. Hey, everyone. So we're bringing back some old traditions from GAs pre-COVID. So basically, I'm going to work with the setup committee. So for example, getting them the seating chart so they know where everyone's seated, because we're going to pre-put everyone's nameplates out just so no one's lost for where to go and things like that. I think it went great today. Everything got set up, and hopefully within the next like 2 GAs, like we can get it to be an automatic process and we can have GAs go a lot faster and a lot smoother. I'm very excited. But yeah. Thank you. Any more announcements? Is that a hand? No. Okay.
Or I have one, sorry.
Yes.
After the meeting, if I don't have your TUID for your grade checks, please just come and fill out your sheet on the grade.
Any more announcements? Okay, seeing that there's none. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Maddox,
Move that we adjourn.
is there a second? Senator Rink,
A second.
is there any discussion? Okay, if not, we'll now move into a vote to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed or abstaining? Great, that the motion passes. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.